Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Atlas. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, Orchid, big movement there, as well as what's going on with Ethereum. So it's been a very interesting Monday so far as of the time of this video. If you guys are new to the channel and you like cryptocurrency, you want to learn more, I do a lot of technical analysis and we also talk about things that are going on in the news. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, guys. And we are trying to get to at least 50 likes on this video. It does help us out a ton. And also, if you click that bell notification, it is the best way for you to get alerted because, let's be honest, YouTube isn't that great with alert notifications. So if you guys take a little extra step for that, then awesome. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the news regarding with Bitcoin. And we're going to take a look at the charts. Bitcoin go up, Coinbase go down. Exchange, geez, what is this, Looney Tunes? Exchange outages and trader outrage. Between March and November, the exchange recorded 9 different issues leading to various types of outages or connectivity problems, although direct customer impact is somewhat unclear in some of the instances. 4 of these instances coincided with volatile Bitcoin price action, according to 30-minute price candles on TradingView.com. So some of the leading complaints people have been saying, such as from Alex over on Twitter, says, coincidence that every time we have huge market moves, Coinbase shuts down? SEC enforcement, seriously investigate this as fishy. We need some transparency on this. It does seem very odd that this keeps happening. This references more in detail each of those instances that took place. And you saw Bitcoin have movements such as 6.94%, 1.72%. We saw 15.26%. I mean, ouch on that one for sure. Coinbase down again. At this point, I adamantly encourage everyone to stop using Coinbase. They've had years and endless resources to prepare for this. To me, it's no coincidence this stuff happens and it's very shady. Delete Coinbase. And then the response, this was actually back on November 17th. So here we are, we're coming up on Thanksgiving. It says we're working hard to add additional capacity, both in servers and customer support to deal with increased traffic. Thank you for your patience during this time, and thank you to the team at Coinbase working hard to serve our customers. Bull runs can be exciting and stressful. I mean, yes, but also bear markets can be very stressful. And I think the fact that Coinbase doesn't work so often, it's insane. Like exactly as what Dan had said, right? They've had the resources. They've got a ton of money to be able to do this. Why does this keep happening? And it seems to keep happening on their exchange primarily in comparison to some of the other leading exchanges. So you guys let me know in the comments. Do you think that Coinbase is intentionally doing this? Or do you think that they're just trying to be cheap and they're not spending extra money to be able to handle this kind of large influx when it happens? It's very fishy in my opinion. I don't like what's going on with it. And I think what also is going to end up leading with this, as it has shown historically before, right, is that people are going to take their coins off of Coinbase. They're going to move it off into their private wallets, basically into cold storage. And in a sense, that's also good because the less coins there are on the exchanges, the less likely it is for the price to just drop. Because you could have it on an exchange, doesn't mean that you're actually selling it, right? But it's readily available to sell if you want to. And if too much supply goes into the market, supply and demand, you guys know how it goes. That just means that the price is more likely to start dropping as people are trying to compete against one another to get their coins off and sold, so they lower their price to help guarantee, since they see a cascading effect dropping down, right? And then other people are like, why should I pay higher when I can buy it from this other person for cheaper? So it's all psychological when it really comes down to that, and then also based on simple economics, supply and demand. Very interesting and very unsettling to me that it's still happening so often. First mover near record highs. Bitcoin may have a volatile week. Bitcoin is trading above $18,500 when they were writing that article. As it is right now, it is actually below $18,500 at $18,441 and just a little bit less now. It moves up and down a lot. The cryptocurrency's 1-month implied volatility metric has jumped to 4-month highs, suggesting increased expectations for price turbulence over the next 4 weeks. So leading into the next monthly candle. It's likely the week ahead is filled with volatility, with the possibility of a trading range between $19,000 and $17,000, the likely outcome. However, if the bulls take charge, then we could be discussing new all-time highs for Bitcoin, noted crypto exchange Equos in its daily Bitcoin analysis email. JP Morgan. Okay, let's talk about the people that this year that are big names that have talked bad about Bitcoin, saying it's not a good idea to invest in it, all those kinds of things, right? You got JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett, Bridgewater Associates CEO Ray Dalio, Goldman Sachs. All these Wall Street titans steered investors away from the largest cryptocurrency this year as its price soared more than 150%. Okay, these are supposed to be some of the smartest investor people in the world, right? And they said, oh, Bitcoin, that's a bad investment. And then what happens? Bitcoin goes 150%. And with its prices, with where it's at, 150%, that's a big transition right there. And then that's not including the fact that you got all these other altcoins. But obviously the big dog is going to be on Bitcoin. They're on the wrong side of the market, while just as big traditional finance names, including Fidelity Investments, Paul Tudor Jones II, Stanley Druckenmiller, Bloomberg Intelligence, and now the $7 trillion money manager BlackRock, touted, I think it's tooted. Toot my own horn. Yeah, touted Bitcoin's potential as the future of money, a hedge against inflation, a peer-to-payment system, an alternative to the US dollar, or merely a speculative investment. Very interesting, in my opinion. And I think that a lot of those people that are like, hey, go Bitcoin, and it's proven right. It's like, it's pretty basic the way it's designed. I mean, it's not overly complicated. More people are coming in. We see the value in it. I don't know why they don't take the time to learn it a little bit more. Warren Buffett seems, I don't know. I guess he just has no interest, and so he's not even bothering trying to listen to it. Anyways, so that's going to go ahead and do it for that. And now we go take a look at the charts here. And I am definitely excited to talk about our Orchid, because a lot of you guys that are on the channel here know that when we started this channel, we started to build a big initial base because we've been covering Orchid. So we'll get to that. We're going to save that bad boy for last. Let's talk about what's going on with Bitcoin, also with Ethereum. And Ethereum is important because not just with Orchid, this could also impact a lot of other things. So hold your horses, guys. Now looking over at the Bitcoin side, right? We can see the Bitcoin is on the daily, basically in a median-based zone. I did not mean to do that. So let's go ahead and zoom in on here. You guys can see that it is at more or less a stalemate. It had some price action movement that took place pushing up. I reformatted the top level of resistance because we have a little bit more of a confluence taking place through this space here. So the bounce off of approximately $18,750 and then a drop down to at one point right at $18,000. Just a little bit below, it looks like 18,000, and then recline back up. So right now it is in the green, it is in the positive. We're seeing the altcoins making some good moves, so that dominance is starting to drop for Bitcoin, and a lot more confidence is starting to go into the altcoins and starting to show signs that altcoin rally, that altcoin season. And a lot of people speculated that the altcoin season would actually start in January, but we do have ETH 2.0 in its release coming out on December 1st. And it potentially can actually come out sooner, as they've been discussing with that. So if Ethereum 2.0 comes out, the security behind it, the faster network, all those kinds of things is going to reinforce and also lower the prices for gas in order to use the Ethereum blockchain system, which means very good news for all the other altcoins. And so you should see a lot of sentiment also going into them, more than likely. Potential case scenario might be that the altcoins see pullbacks and Ethereum just goes on this massive rampant spree rise, as it is trying to climb back to its previous all-time high, and it's still got quite a bit of ways to go before it reaches there. And then of course it can go even further beyond it. Some people are speculating, you know, a $5,000, 3 to 5 times of where its previous high was. We'll talk about that again in a second. Anyways, looking over here on Bitcoin, we do have just slightly bit of a green candle. It has to cross above this key level here again of resistance, $18,750. Really needs to try and get in that $19,000 range and start showing 19,000 as a level of support for us to have even further confidence that 20K is still likely. We're very close. We're within like a 5% ratio range where we've been moving with this, of hitting the all-time high and breaking above that. But when you have the potential for altcoins to make these more immediate type gains, some people might be looking to go into those markets and let this just kind of run sideways and just maintain it in the sideways position, not losing full confidence, right? Before another major movement takes place. Now, if it does that, keep in mind that the 21 EMA will start to flatline out. We've been seeing a lot of large increases on a vertical standpoint, but if it moves horizontal, then things start to get a little bit too passive, and that's when some big and unexpected move can take place. A lot of liquidations can go in. More people are putting in orders for either like a long or short position, and so it's just something to be kind of cautious of. If it has a pullback down here to $16,600, that's a key level for the 21 EMA, and I feel that the 21 EMA is a very good, reliable source of reference, because as you guys can see, since we've been on this bull run, ever since it was back on October 8th, we've been above the 21 EMA. So typically a transition that's going to occur down below that, we'll see a further period of time maintaining below. So for example, back here on September 21st, when that position had settled itself in, it tried to break above, it slightly did, and it came further down. It didn't really actually maintain breaking out until that October 8th period. So there's a good little time frame where some sideways action, some potential move down. You could see that had formed this bottom level of support, which was key in holding and maintaining itself so that it could actually start on this major rally. And also keep in mind that when we're in a major explosive bull run like this, some of the other fundamentals start to feel less significant. So for example, the RSI, the relative strength index, might be more correlated to a more common trend as a previous, but with massive explosions, you're going to have what shows up a lot as massive overbought signals, like such as here. But that's just part of how a major bull run takes place. So before a bull run or after a bull run, the RSI can be much more reliable, as it is right now. It's not a leading key indicator factor, right? So other leading key factors we want to take a look at here. We look at it on the weekly, which we haven't been showing you guys in the videos, but looking at it on the weekly, look at how many green candles that we have for Bitcoin on the weekly with this run going on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're on the 8th one right now. We're pretty much balanced out on the 8th one, but 7 of these in a row of the weekly green candles, it's leading more and more to the idea that we're likely to see a correction and a pullback. I would like to see it hit 20K, but for it to not have a massive pop and a huge retracement back and a lot of people freaking out, it might be good to have a week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 or 4, I hate to say that, but of these slight red candles down. Doesn't necessarily mean that they need to be big red candles, right? But we're just talking about slight red, because it also plays a lot into psychological play. So remember, when people are looking at these charts, if they see just green, 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 you start to get too greedy at some point. You know it's going to pull back, and somebody's going to pull that trigger, that plug that's going to cause it to actually start plunging. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that took place previously back in March, that green rally right after that massive dump. So we're already past that point currently, depending on where this actual week decides to settle itself. The volume is still pretty low in comparison, but this is going to be a very interesting week with how it plays out, guys. If it breaks above the 20K range, again, we have no idea where it could end up going. I am expecting, personally, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is just my own opinion, I think we're going to have a retracement back after 20K. A lot of people are going to freak out and panic, and they're going to be making sure that they can get whatever profits that they have, and because of that, we're going to see a flood that takes place onto the market. And I don't know how significant the pullback will be, but I do expect a pullback, and I also don't know how long it's going to be, because if you have other major institutions, someone might be ready right out there and they say, look, we can come in on this right now, but we want more security in mind. And they may have already done the math on this, saying like, hey, here's the daily production rate, right? Here's the stock to flow type model, and we've got this much in money that we can fund in. You know, if we got like $500 million, for example, it's like, okay, if it moves within this variable range of a drop during this period in time, and then we come in, and you can start to figure out the math on a lot of this stuff, right? If we buy X amount, especially if they've already got a potential buyer, like a miner that is just ready to go, and then they're calculating in how much more that they are speculating to have been on the spot exchanges, so that they can actually just straight up take those off of circulating supply right then and there. And then that starts to add a lot more confidence back in too. So if some company is out there ready and waiting to do that, adding that level of confidence past the 20K could just cause it to have a further momentum drive, more confidence from everyone else. They're like, whoa, okay, so these big whales, they aren't ready to try and start taking their profits yet. They do see these big numbers. They're talking about the 100,000, 500,000 kind of numbers, right? So that's going to be very interesting. Now, looking at this also on the monthly for Bitcoin, we are on a second green candle, a very massive green candle with that being said as well. And it is maintaining itself very well as it is currently above that long-term descending blue line that was initially set up until we had this nice little breakout that's been going on the upside here. So as it is, still very good bullish signs for Bitcoin, but over the course of the next week, I would not be surprised, especially with the amount of influx that's going into the altcoins, such as with Ethereum, with Orchid, and some of these other coins, that we might see some sideways action for Bitcoin or even a little bit of a retracement. I'm not expecting a massive drop with Bitcoin to just suddenly occur out of nowhere, but news changes, new updates come out, and some major whale that's out there that's been holding out, they're the unpredictable factor. They're throwing in that extra dice, and it changes the game a little bit, right? So I can't predict someone's unexpected behavior, but as it is from the fundamentals looking at it right now, it still looks like it's doing good. I would love to see it break 20K soon. I mean, if it broke 20K today, I'd be happy still, right? Now let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with Ethereum. And let's go ahead and get this saved real quick. All right, there we go. Now go ahead and looking at Ethereum, we are past the $600 mark. It is making some really good headway. And if we take a look at it even further back, you can see that the next major level zone that it's gonna have to test is gonna be right around $830. Further continuation up, all-time high at approximately $1,430, right? So we're seeing on the daily candles here, we've got 4 green candles having been formed so far. Volume for the day is at a high point in comparison to what we've been seeing here historically for quite a while. Ever since the last comparable point was actually the massive drop, and that took place back on September 5th. So very good bullish momentum occurring for this. It is still above the 21 EMA as well. That 21 EMA for retracement, if it goes back down, is at $481, and just going to see if that forms as a key level of support. Realistically, with the ETH 2.0 coming out and more people that are looking into the staking system for this, I don't expect this to have a major drop back either. But again, unexpected things can happen. Some major government come out and say we're not allowing crypto again, or they've got some other replacement that's showing way more promise and it's super cheap or whatever, right? Something like that can technically happen. You got to be prepared for those kinds of things. So very interesting with this on the daily. Looking at on the weekly, you can see that the previous week was absolutely massive. We just started this week, and that's already off to really, really high signs. And looking at it on the monthly as well, we haven't seen a large candle like this since, realistically, primarily the big drop that occurred back in May. And April was a massive green candle taking place as well. And with that price range right there, let's see if I got the right one set up. Okay, that took place from a bottom all the way to the top. That was 102%. And seeing it with this position here, if we took it from the baseline to try and have a similar level of growth, we could see potential levels just with this candlestick size around just a little bit less than 100% gains, and that would actually position it right around $730, which would maintain itself above the green position before, which would strengthen also its rally up. And actually it closes out on back in December of 2017, which is very interesting. So if we can close out there for this month, going into December of next month, we might see another rally almost on the monthly replication right here, pushing up towards the previous all-time highs. So yeah, I would say for this month, guys, a key level to try and kind of keep an eye on to see if we can hit is going to be right around that $730 type range. $730, $740 with the way that this is going right now. And again, we have Ethereum 2.0. We didn't have that back in 2017. In 2017, there was also less crypto competitors too. You could argue something like that. So there's multiple factors to take into consideration with this. Okay, now let's go talk about Orchid. Oh yes, I know some of you guys have been waiting me to get to this point, right? Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and I can say that I am much more bullish at this point. Thank God. Oh my gosh, I've been covering this every day, you guys, and looking at this chart right here since we had that big explosive move. It's just been down and down and down and down and down and down and down, and you start to lose a lot of confidence in something like this. We do still need to be careful though. Okay, the reason being is it's a massive green candle, and as we've seen historically with Orchid, is a massive retracement that takes place back, especially when you look at that $1 range, right? Going back all the way over here, you see that big $1 hit. I got to zoom out even more. You got the $1 hit right here, and then just a further retracement all the way down on that candle, and then consecutive reds, tried to continue up. And we do have a lot more tokens that are going to be coming out in just a couple more weeks, a very large amount of tokens actually. But as it is, what is good news is that we have broken above the 0.236 level. In fact, we've even broken above the 0.382 level. And with where we're currently at, you could argue and say that this big consolidated space that's been occurring as of the previous zone, which I had shown here, as it is right now, we're right within that zone. So if it maintains itself above the Fibonacci retracement level, the 0.236 right here, around 26.5 cents, and can go above the range of 32.33, then it's going to be a very key level to watch, guys. Very, very, very key level to watch. Daily is already having a bit of a retracement back. So massive volume in comparison to previous days. Finally starting to see this transition change. So instead of it just being straight down, we are seeing a curve now starting to take place. And hopefully this curve is going to have a further continuation up as more volume decides to come into the marketplace. And with a similar level of volume as it is today, and we do have about 1 more hour left to go. The last time we had a similar level of volume that was green was back on August 14th, and that was the first start of a major rally. Then there were 2 consecutive days that followed up with a price range that increased itself from a baseline of just under 20 cents all the way up to that $1 range. So you're looking at about a 5x, right? Hypothetically, if we had a 5x from here, it would actually break the all-time high. And it would also put us at, if let's say we started out here at the 25-cent range, right? So 5 times that, $2.50, right? So very, 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 very interesting. Wait, did I do that right? 25 times 5. No, 25 cents, 4 into a dollar. So $1.25. Okay, there you go. So it'd be $1.25 for a final price point if it did follow the same exact kind of pattern. And for it to be the exact same pattern, I wouldn't fully bet on something like that, because history doesn't necessarily repeat itself, as we learned the other day, but it does rhyme, right? So there's going to be some similarities that are taking place. Oh, I didn't even know I still had those lines back there. Let's go ahead and get that bad boy saved now. Now let's go look at this on some other perspective views. Looking at this on the weekly, guys. On the weekly, we actually had a previous week that was in the green. So we've been seeing some momentum gaining back on that as well. And then on this weekly, which we've just started, we're already showing extremely good signs in that position as well, right? So now let's go take a look at it on the monthly. And the monthly, we can see that the amount of volume on the month, which isn't done yet, but it is currently bigger than the previous month, not quite as big as the previous month before that. That was actually a red candle that took place, so quite a significant drop. And then the month before that was just absolutely stratospheric, or whatever the phrase is. Like, this thing went to the moon, and then it realized that it didn't have enough fuel and had to come back to Earth, right? So unfortunately, it's preparing itself for another launch. If it can maintain itself above the dollar range, then I think a lot more opportunities are going to start to come out, especially when future developments of the token start coming out. So the things like the nano payment system, if it's already above the dollar when it has that news, it's going to be absolutely amazing. If this gets above $1 before this actual Windows release update 2, then that is going to push it even higher. And I see a higher likelihood of it maintaining above $1 as a level of support zone if there is further news after it's established the $1 region zone. So I don't know if that's necessarily what they're waiting on to be able to release with this, but it looks like everything's ready to go with Windows. There might be just some sort of legal thing or like a contractual time frame that they said it won't start until a specific time, something like that. If you guys have any news or info on that, then definitely let me know, please. Now looking at it on the 4-hourly chart, you can see we've also been seeing some big green movements taking place. The last 4 hours, it did have that massive candle push up, and as of this 4-hourly section, it is unfortunately in the red, but it is not completely down. You can see that there's been some action fighting back on this, trying to maintain itself at a higher level. On a daily close, if this can position itself above 30 cents, that is going to be a very nice new region zone. Again, psychologically, to be thinking of, because we've been within this 20-cent region zone for quite some time. I mean, quite a bit of time. And yeah, so above 30 cents is going to add a lot more sentiment. The fact that we on the daily did bounce off that 21 EMA, as you guys can see right here, I mean, it nearly touched it. It's so pin precise, and this is why I say the 21 EMA is so important, right? But it got very close, but it maintained itself above. When we came above here, what did I say before? I said this is a good start, but we haven't had 3 days consecutively maintained above. If we get 3, then I will say that I am bullish. Depending on how close it is, I'll be either like subtly bullish or I'll be much more strongly, adamantly bullish. And so then we had a red candle. I said, see, this is what I'm concerned about. We have 2 days that are technically above, but we need that 3rd day. And then the 3rd day happened. I said, well, it is a red candle. However, it is 3 days now above the 21 EMA, like I've been stating, which we haven't had. And so this strengthens the idea. So I'm like, I'm subtly bullish now. I'm not bearish. I'm leaning more towards it's going to the positive side. And then we had a green candle. Nice little movement up, a little bit of retracement back, but it's still maintained above the 21 EMA. And then as of the daily with here, a massive explosive growth gain. So turns out that I was actually correct with this. Who would have thunk it, right? Hopefully this news and information has been helpful for you guys. Again, if you are new to the channel and you find this information valuable and you like the news that I'm sharing, the technical analysis, if you like the community that we're building, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. And feel free to share this with anybody else if you feel that they're into some of the similar crypto and you think they might enjoy this content. I really do want to build a strong community, and I can't do that by myself. I appreciate all of you guys being here. If you could hit that like button and get us to at least 50 likes on this video, at least 50 likes would be really, really helpful, guys. And that bell notification is so important so that you know when there's a new video that goes up. Drop a comment down below. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions on everything we talked about today, or if there's anything else that you would like to share. You guys stay amazing. I wish all of you guys the best of luck with everything that's going on here. You know, a lot of us are in this together, and we want to be able to take this opportunity, because it is the opportunity of a lifetime, and get it to change our lives and the lives of those around us that we care about. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next episode.